Hey, good morning, Chloe.
Good morning, Matt. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you this morning?
Oh boy. Well,
That's just one of those things you just automatically say, even though I know that like that in that small little question is a segue into a much larger conversation.
yeah. Well, yeah. Here's the thing.
Chloe's had a
Um,
day.
I've had several days. Uh, so I was up in Alaska visiting my family,
Hmm.
which was I was up there for quite a while, which was great that I got to spend a whole bunch of time with my niece. She's 6 years old. What an excellent age. But I got back yesterday and it's a 4 hour time difference.
Hmm.
So I got on a plane Wednesday night at 10:45 p.m.
Hmm.
I got into Minneapolis at 6:30 a.m. and then immediately got on a flight to Boston from there. So I got home at noon, so it was not like as long of a trip as it could have been,
Right.
and the flight didn't get canceled, which was amazing. And I slept all afternoon and I slept all last night, but it turns out missing a full night of sleep,
Hmm.
uh, you know, I'm still in a little bit of sleep debt. I'm
Yeah.
still
I mean, jet lag is no
pushing through.
joke. Like
It's no
jet
joke.
lag is
Yeah,
is a thing. Like that's I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
it's messy.
Yeah. I remember going to Liverpool,
Uh huh.
and I was going over there. I was going to stay over there for a few months, and a friend of mine picked me up at the airport, and he was like, "Hey, here's what we're going to do so you don't get jet lagged. I know you're tired, but we're going to stay up all day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep you up. We're gonna stay up. I'm gonna show you around. We're gonna go get dinner, and
Mm-hmm.
then you'll come home. We'll take you to the place, and then you can fall asleep at your regular time. So then you're just on the clock.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. So we went out for dinner. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
We started having some cocktails. We had a couple cocktails, and a couple cocktails turned into a couple more cocktails.
Uh
We met some people, like just the way that he and I both are together. We like met some strangers
oh.
and
Dynamite duo.
started
Started
having
doing
drinks with
bits.
them. Drinks turned into shots,
Wow.
and then that was when I was introduced to vodka Red Bulls, which are
Oh,
not a healthy
Matt,
drink.
no.
Luckily, this was when I was much younger, so I
Thank
didn't care
goodness.
as much about my body as opposed to now when I care so much about my body.
We care a little
Um,
bit more.
but yeah, he started giving me vodka Red Bulls, and as it turns out, Scotsmen like to get other people drunk.
Oh, yeah.
They just do.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
So about 3 a.m. We we finally get back home. I had the worst heartburn I've had in my life.
Vivid
I just
memories.
laid there. I was like, ah. And then,
Yeah.
but the next morning I was not jet lagged.
Look at you.
I was super hungover.
Yeah.
Uh,
Cancels out the jet lag with a hangover.
yeah. I just swapped them. I just swapped them out.
Perfect. No notes.
No, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you? So you went to Alaska for Christmas?
Oh yeah, and I have
Eh,
so much more stand-up material now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How was the fam?
The fam is good. So my brother just moved back in with my parents. So it's a full house. It's a big house, so
Nice.
that's nice. Buddy Joe loved it because he had he was eating more because he was getting so many steps in because he just would his whole day consisted of just wandering around the house. He'd run into a person and be, "Oh, hello," and then he'd keep tottering on.
He's like,
He
this place is great.
there's so
There's
much
so
to
much
sniff.
room.
Yeah. Um and, if he ever needed anything, he would bark once sharply. You had about 20 minutes to figure out what he needed.
And then you get
10
another
to
bark.
20 minutes
Yeah.
to figure out what he needed. And most of the time, he just wanted someone to pick him up and put him on a couch. Which, honestly...
Annie has started doing that as well. Like, she can't get up on the couch as easy anymore. So she'll stand next to it, and she'll like put her front paws up on the cushions, and she'll be like, she does this whining thing where it's just like and she'll do that for an extended period of time unless you take care of it.
Yeah. Well, they gotta let us know somehow. You know?
Yeah, they really do. How did Buddy Joe do with the flight and everything? Was he good? Was he good on the flight? Oh, he's fine.
Yeah, because he goes in a carrying case under the seat, and it's as long as he like knows that I'm next to him, he'll go anywhere. So like he's super chill. He'll just like lay down and sleep. So there's not much else to do. He likes, they're den creatures. He likes his little airplane den, I guess.
Nice.
And yeah, but he'll, as long as he can like see me and get to me, I took him on a rafting trip once, and we weren't doing like major rapids or anything, but we were on a big inflatable boat. He fell asleep in my lap. Like, on the river. Yeah.
On the river?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's a distinguished gentleman. He is
such a distinguished gentleman.
Yeah. So he's a man of adventure.
Yeah.
But also of leisure.
Yeah. He's like what's his name? Jack Whitehall on Jungle Cruise.
Right.
Did you see Jungle Cruise?
I've not. I know Jack.
I'll be honest,
I know Jack
watched
Whitehall.
It twice.
That's the Rock and Emily Blunt vehicle, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's one of those movies that I've thought about watching a couple of times, but have not. But it's worth watching.
Yes. It's I did not see the twist coming.
That river was not wild.
It was not a wild river.
Welcome, Welt Yed. Thanks for joining us.
Welt Yed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I there was a TikTok I saw. I think it was College Humor or something like that, where they're talking about where it's Disney.
Jungle Cruise did need more Kevin Hart. It was a little surprising that he did not pop up.
Oh, he wasn't in the movie at all? I haven't.
No.
Yeah.
They're best friends, and it's always fun to see them together. The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Honestly, that's what made that new Jumanji movie. I didn't see the second one of that.
Yeah.
But the first Jumanji movie, I watched it with my friend Ben. We had some party favors, and we decided to watch this movie a little inebriated. And thank you for that. Yeah, it's not that kind of stream. But thank you. But you can take us in the shower with you. Just don't. Yeah.
Don't tell us.
But yeah, the dynamic between those two is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's very good. But Jungle Cruise was pretty good without him, I think, and. It
just had Mummy vibes. Like, to me, it was like, I was like, oh, this is just the Mummy.
Oh, and
this is just a different.
Yeah, I watched a TikTok where someone described this genre as like clumsy librarian bisexual goes on an adventure.
Yeah.
And that like the Mummy and Jungle Cruise are both in that category, and it's 100% accurate.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I'm kind of into that. Like, that's
100%.
I think a lot of America, a lot of the world is into that, which is why those movies are so successful.
Yeah.
At least the first. I never saw the third Mummy movie, which is when The Rock, which is the one that The Rock was in.
Oh my gosh, The Rock has been in both of these. Oh my god.
And The Rock has been in both of these movies. So maybe it's The Rock. Maybe it's
The Rock that does.
Are you a Brendan Fraser fan? Are you?
You know, I saw a tweet the other day that girls only want one thing, and it's disgusting, and it's to see Brendan Fraser happy, and that's it is how I feel, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see that guy happy too. He's had a he had a rough go of things.
He had a rough go of things. That's exactly what I said when somebody asked me about this before.
Yeah,
he's had a rough go, and he's just he seems like a real nice guy, and he's doing his best.
He's doing his best.
He deserves a break.
Yeah, he's really good in Doom Patrol, which is a show on the DC. It's a DC show.
He's in a show again?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is like he voices. He does mostly voice work, but he's in it a couple of times. But yeah, he plays a guy that I think the character is called Robot Man. He's a guy that has his brain. He's in a horrible car accident, and they take his brain and put it inside of a robot. And he is a Robot Man, and he swears a lot.
I love that for him.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Doom Patrol, Chloe, I think you'd really like it.
I have a sneaking suspicion that I would.
And I believe there are 3 seasons
of it
on
good.
HBO Max.
I'm like desperate for new shows right now. I started Bird Girl. I got another suggestion from one of my fellow Avatar Last Airbender friends. I think it's like Owl House or something like that on Disney.
A lot of birds. A lot of birds in what you're watching. You're watching a lot of bird content.
2022, Year of the Bird.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now.
And also, yes, well, yeah, the Tom Cruise Mummy, it doesn't exist. Like, I've never watched it. I never will watch it.
There is no movie in Boston.
# not my mummy.
I forgot that they did that.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to do like the monster universe, like the Universal monster universe with the Mummy and Dracula and Frankenstein and werewolf and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I mean, we could just chat for
chat
days.
Movies.
Like, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd be interested to keep talking movies, and we can. I did go see. I haven't real quick. I did go see the new Spider-Man movie, the new Spider-Man, which was dope. Was so good.
I am very excited for that. I still haven't seen the second one.
Oh really? Oh, you should see the second one. You need to see that one before you see this one.
I've been trying really hard to.
Yeah. Going to the theaters is a little scary. A lot of people. But I wore my mask the whole time.
Oh, good.
You got this thing where you can just pull your mask up a little bit and then dump the candy into your mask, and it's like you're like a horse.
Yeah.
You can just chew and eat the candy a little bit as you go.
I actually got a specific mask that has sort of like a firm structure here, and the cloth part here, and it slides right into my mouth. It's
nice.
Yeah. So you don't have to fish around the way you might with a full cloth mask.
Yeah, I like the fishing around part. That's part of the entertainment for me.
Yeah, well, it tastes better if you work harder.
yeah. There's something to it. I also realized I love that I have this little. I have a new guy here behind me.
Oh, you got? Is that a Cookie Monster?
It's just a little puppet. It's just a little puppet that I was given my friend Harry. You remember Harry?
Harry.
He was like one of our first guests on the show. Yeah. He actually gave me this puppet, and I never use it.
Well,
which seems like a waste.
Now you're using it as a background, so that counts.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. Now that we had a fake out intro for our guest, he was all ready to come on, and then we're like, let's keep talking.
Jungle Cruise. I'm so sorry.
Here to share his thoughts on the movie Jungle Cruise and other rock-related
content.
Properties. Please welcome back to the show, very talented Gus Voorhees. Gus, good morning.
Hey, I didn't know that Jack Whitehall was in Jungle Cruise.
I almost didn't recognize him without his facial hair, but it's him.
Oh, weird. That's even weird. I don't know. I guess I know I feel I have a certain like loyalty, I think, because I watched him on like Fresh Meat in I think 2010 or
Yeah.
something like that. And he seems like the kind of British guy who's very funny but doesn't pretend like maybe he doesn't have there's not the cultural reference in America for there to be crossover because he's such a specific kind of posh guy
Yes. Yeah.
usually.
Well, now he's gotten bigger with like the stuff that he does with his dad, like when he goes
Yeah,
around and
no,
travels
and
with
they
his
were like,
dad.
I was gonna ask who plays his father in Jungle Cruise. If he's traveling,
It's The
it
Rock.
must be
It comes out that The
The
Rock is
Rock.
actually his dad.
Okay, so that means that was the Kevin Hart role.
That makes sense, yeah.
Which is another like parallel to the Mummy movies, because in the Mummy movies, there was the guy. I don't know the actor's name, but played her brother. That was kind of that
Oh, yeah.
bumbling guy
Yeah,
who
Oh my
always
gosh.
steals stuff.
It's the
It's
same.
the same movie.
It is, and I
Except
think I think it was pitched as the same movie. I'm trying to remember a offhand blank
Yeah,
check
they're like,
on
okay,
it.
you know the Mummy movie that Brendan
Yeah.
Fraser did. We're
Let's
gonna
do
do that,
that.
but we're gonna lay it
But
over
in
the
the
one of the
Amazon.
lamest Disney rides. Small World, no, Jungle Cruise.
Is that a Disney ride? I know I've never been to a Disney park. I don't know anything about it, and as I get older, it's more clear how much of a cultural aspect I'm missing.
Yeah.
Like I went in for a PCR test on Wednesday, and I was like, "This is a really long line." And someone was like, "Yeah, it's like Space Mountain, right?" I'm like,
And you're like, I don't know what that means.
What is that?
Oh my gosh.
I'm a huge Disney fan.
Yeah.
I go to Disney. Well, I haven't gone in a very long time, but my wife and I got engaged to Disney.
Oh my God.
And yeah, the plan is
Well,
to
doesn't
get
show.
there as soon as we can.
It doesn't show. Yeah. Well, I went there, I guess 7 years ago, maybe. Yeah, because it was before my niece was born, so 7 or 8 years ago. Oh, no, I remember this. Oh, I was still in college because everyone was there, so it was my parents, our family friends, the Sontags, and then one of their boys and his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And my boyfriend at the time felt weird about my parents paying for him to come with me, and so I was I was a seventh wheel on this trip, which is by myself this whole time. And like, I was so mad because the only thing we went to Disney, but we also went to Universal Studios, and the whole time the only thing I was talking about was like, I want to go to Harry Potter Land. This is the best. I was so excited. We're doing Harry Potter. Like, I don't care that I'm here by myself. We're doing Harry Potter. Nothing else matters. And then because the plan was like, we're going to go to Universal Studios. I'm going to go immediately to Harry Potter Land.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to Universal Studios, and my dad is like, let's get a fast pass thing for later. Let's walk around the rest of the park, and then we'll go to Harry Potter Land later with this fast pass thing. I was so angry.
Did you make it to Harry Potter Land? Did they?
Yeah, and
Okay.
guess what? I still had to wait 2 hours with a fast pass.
Yeah, I watched that Fast Pass documentary on YouTube, the Defunct Land one. There's a 2-hour dive into the history and logistics of Fast Pass.
So if you were
Yes.
waiting in line for a ride, you could watch that whole documentary.
Yeah. Well, it's just
it's
your
what it's made
ticket.
for.
Yeah, it's your ticket to stand in another line. Like, you just get to stand in a different line with everyone else that buys fast passes. So actually, it's faster to not buy the fast pass because that line is shorter.
It's a TSA pre-check thing if you are flying on a day where only business people fly.
Okay,
I've had this has happened to me a couple of times where I was like, I have to get to the airport 2.5 hours early because the line's gonna be so bad. But it's like midday on a Wednesday because I bought a cheap ticket. The only people there are people with TSA pre-check.
So the line for pre-check is so long.
It's massive, and you just kind of like walk through. Yeah.
So this whole
Yeah.
documentary is basically like fast passes don't work.
No, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know if you watched Defunctland ones before. It's just little like dives into the history of different rides, mostly from Disney stuff, but from other places. And so it's a lot of like,
Yeah.
it's super nerdy and weird, but it's good. Like I'm gonna clean my room, have it on the background, and take a nap, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I watched all of it or if I was awake for all of it.
Yeah.
I think that it works. There have been like 3 different versions of it, and basically the current version more or less takes the average line speed down in general.
Mhm.
There's for a while they had different tiers of it, and when you had different in their tier system, they actually increased the average line speed for every single ride.
That
Huh.
makes
Like
sense.
a
Yeah.
lot, yeah,
Because you just have
people are like,
more lines.
you have more lines. And the initial idea is to like get people to go to rides that they wouldn't think of going to, because if you're always trying to avoid
Oh
being in
yeah.
line for a ride, then you'll go like, well, I may as well stay in a line. For some people, I may as well stay in a line that's longer for a ride I want to go to than stay in a line, then go to a line for a ride I don't want to go to. But if you have a pass, you're like, oh, while I'm waiting for this one, I can also
Yeah.
go on to.
Well, because
I
you
don't
have to
know,
pick your
smaller
time.
thing.
You have to pick
Yeah.
your time for Fast Pass. You have to go on the website, or you have to go on the app and be like, okay, I want the 10:30 Fast Pass for Space Mountain, and then I want the 12 o'clock Fast Pass for Himalayan Adventure Time. I know that's not
Yeah.
the right name.
Sure. I
and
mean,
then,
it could be for me.
Gus
I
doesn't
really
know.
don't know. I
Gus
really have
doesn't
no
know.
idea.
Well, yeah, it is on fire in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Saying from someone who worked at a theme park, fast passes are bullshit 70% of the time, which checks out. And then watch the short documentary. It costs twice as much for those rides. Nice.
Well, here's the thing. It's like
Matterhorn,
so.
yes.
It's like going
Is
to.
it still called the Matterhorn? That's my
I
question.
think it is.
Oh, probably.
I saw something somewhere. I saw a TikTok, as we say on the show, apparently.
Yeah. We say.
We do say TikTok a lot on this show,
especially today. I saw a TikTok that said that that Walt Disney sent people to the actual Matterhorn to sculpt it. So I think it's literally, the mountain is literally the Matterhorn.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
I've been to the
surprised
actual
by that.
Matterhorn, and it looks exactly like it's very
That's so weird. What a weird thing.
I mean, that dude was weird. Walt Disney, man, he
had a vision.
Yeah.
And people
was
with
crazy
vision
enough
are
to
often
get there.
A little odd. Well, so the fast passes are like if you go to a thrift store and you buy something because you're at a thrift store and it's cheaper than it normally would be. It's like, I could get this. Wow, look at this cool pineapple basket. It's only $2. I should just get it.
Yeah, I don't need a 10th Mr. Coffee, but it's here.
I thought you were going to say I don't need a 10th pineapple basket. I was like,
yeah. I feel like I always see like there's always like a lot of like coffee machines from, it seems like now, the mid 90s or something like that in every time I go to the thrift shop.
I guess that's true.
Well, yeah, it is dropping hot Disney facts in the chat. Evidently, there's a basketball court inside the summit of the Matterhorn.
Wow.
We might actually be talking to the ghost of Walt Disney. This might actually be
that'd be really scary.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
What would you ask?
If you could chat with ghosts on a, like, in a digital, like, not like with no worry about being like haunted, possessed or haunted or anything like that. If you could just go and just like chat like this, or they could chat with you, that would be pretty cool.
I thought you were going to ask who you would chat with, and I have an answer now.
Who would you chat with?
Who?
Kurt Vonnegut, 100%.
Oh, that'd be good. He'd be a good texter.
If I could text with Kurt Vonnegut all day, I would do it.
He is one of those guys who there's like a couple authors who I'm sort of like, I kind of wish they had been able to be on Twitter because I think they'd be really interesting on Twitter.
Oh my god, he would have been really funny on Twitter because it's
He was really good. Yeah, it would have
thing-
destroyed him, I think.
It probably, yeah.
Would have destroyed him.
But I think it would be a fun. Like I don't think he would put out books, but I think that we would have his Twitter, which would be fun.
Yeah, and it would be solid gold. Yeah, because he's like, the thing that's so funny to me is that like there are people that are like huge Kurt Vonnegut fans, and they're like very set in their love of him and their ideas of him and all this stuff, and Kurt Vonnegut is just like, we were put on this earth to fart around. I don't know, just have fun, do a good time. Like, his fans are so serious, and he's just like, here's a drawing of a beaver.
Yeah. No, he'd be really into memes. He'd love memes.
Oh, he would love memes.
He would get it. He would he'd be really into the Mr. Police one. I think he would enjoy that one. He would probably, I think he would really like steamed hams. These are all kind of like older ones, I think, at this point, but I do think I think that the bizarre.
You think he would love sort of outdated Facebook memes?
I think he would have an era he'd be stuck on. I don't think that he would be like taking in current memes unless he was watching them develop actively. I think he would have like in his phone, he would have some saved, and you look through, like, you're kind of saving the same ones from like 5 years ago, Kurt.
Nope, that's correct. I believe that 100%. That's it. Yeah.
I wish Thomas Pynchon is still alive, but I think Thomas Pynchon would be really good on Twitter. I think that he's avoided the public spotlight for his entire career, but it seems like a good time for him to get on and start like attacking fans or something. I think that's what he would do.
So obviously Matt and I know who Thomas Pynchon is, but
obviously, but we gotta tell everybody else.
Oh, you don't know fans. Thomas Pynchon's like kind of, I think this might, I don't like giving out book recommendations because it always feels like I don't know. Read this
book. Take hours to read this book.
My dad is a huge, like, he just buys books constantly, and every time I go home and talk to him, he like hands me a book. And over Christmas, I actually said to him, I don't have room in my luggage.
Oh, look at you setting boundaries. That's great.
Thomas Pynchon is really good. Is a more or less contemporary of Kurt Vonnegut, who's now like in his 90s or something. And he wrote a book called Gravity's Rainbow, which is really well known, and a couple other ones. A couple titles I get confused with Kurt Vonnegut books.
Good. Then I'll probably like him.
Yeah. Did Vonnegut write The Crying of Lot whatever, or am I thinking of Pynchon?
I think that must be
Crying of Lot 35. I think that's Thomas Pynchon. It's really good. A little bit more like heady, but still I think a similar worldview, and like Gravity's Rainbow works in like vaudeville songs into the text.
Oh,
it's like, and also great. Like, and the thing that is like very Vonnegut about it, I think, is like it also involves like jokes around 40s graffiti and electrical diagrams.
Okay, yeah. That sounds amazing.
Those very, very funny electrical diagrams.
It's really, I mean, it's one of the books that more people have claimed to have read than have actually read, I think. But I think it's a good one. I think he's a good author. But his thing is, which is amazing, is that he has never had an interview in his entire career. He's a decently well-known author. Except for he's been on 2 episodes of The Simpsons, and one time he when he accepted an award, he hired someone to be an impersonator of him. But he didn't hire. But the impersonator never spoke to him directly. He had someone else call up to pretend to be Thomas Pynchon, to hire the impersonator to pretend to be Thomas Pynchon.
That's insane.
So-
Like I have
He
no
lives-
idea who this guy is, but I kind of
It's
want to
amazing.
get into
That
it now.
alone is worth it,
Yeah.
knowing him as a reference, if nothing else. He lives in Brooklyn. Like he lives in like the only photo of him is from when he was drafted into World War II, I think,
Wow.
or probably the Korean War, and then people think that there is another photo of him as an extra in the background of a news report. Or like B footage.
So people care enough about it that they're like, that background extra might be Thomas Pynchon.
His agent released a statement saying he was in it, but that's fully unreliable.
Yeah.
Right.
So did the agent release the picture, or was just like, look out for Thomas?
I think that it was a report on his new book, and they said, and then the agent said within the B footage of New York
That's so
in that
smart.
report is Thomas Pynchon.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
Is that insane? Absolutely.
that.
But I think
Whereas
very
Kurt
I think-
Vonnegut was
Like
had a
a
cameo
normal dude.
in
The
a
kind of-
he had a cameo in a Rodney Dangerfield movie.
He was in Rodney Dangerfield movie. He was on like late night shows. Didn't he do Letterman at some point, like late in his life?
He
I
might.
think.
I bet he
have no
did.
idea.
I
He might
wouldn't
have.
be surprised by
He was
that.
all over the place though, huh?
Yeah,
He
I gotta
loved
watch more footage of him.
he's funny.
He's very funny.
Yeah.
Well, Gus, let's see. Let's segue. Boom.
Changing subject.
Changing.
You don't get a
thing.
choice.
How is like the last bit of your? You were on the show earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So we're kind of bookending here. How's your year been? How's your 2021 been?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Last time I was here, I was early in starting like a group, and we've since had our first performance at the beginning of this month, and
awesome.
theoretically have a performance later in like January 9th.
Cool.
But we'll see if that is true. Mhm.
Yeah.
It is difficult to it's harder to predict concerts than basically anything else.
Especially with the Omicron out there.
Yeah.
It's getting crazy again.
Yeah. It's like it's tearing through Boston, right? I mean, like while I was up in Alaska, I'd get a text every other day from one of my friends being like, "Oh, one of my friends got Omicron," or "I have Omicron." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I should just stay here."
I want to, we've been talking about. Never mind. Keep going. I didn't save it as I thought I did. There was I saw this TikTok yesterday that was it was, I think the tagline on it was people that haven't caught COVID in 2020 or in 2021, and it's Mario, like it's the original Mario game, and it's it's Mario going through a level that is all those long fireball things, and there's so many of them.
Yeah.
They're just going like this, and this like he's just barely missing getting hit. He's a little Mario, so one hit and he's dead, right? So he goes through this whole thing, and it's just constant like things coming around and he's jumping like crazy, and it's like if you haven't gotten it, this is your life. You're just kind of like, oh God, I'm trying not to get COVID.
I'm amazed. I know a couple people who have not had it at all yet, and I'm amazed. I don't know how they avoided it.
Knock on wood, hopefully.
Yeah. Gus, you're crushing it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I flew back from Washington D.C. on last Sunday, and the entire time at the airport, I was like putting on extra masks. Like every time, it was like such a. I was there for like 10 days, for like about a week. At the beginning of the week was when the Omicron news was basically breaking.
Yeah.
And so I had like one day where I got to like do something where as planned, and then as the week progressed, I would just text with friends, kind of like, maybe it doesn't make sense.
Maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe I just have to be in like my parents' house this entire week,
Yeah.
rejecting book suggestions.
Yeah. So in the Mario scenario, the fire is books.
Yeah.
For you.
COVID is Goomba, and then the fire is books.
Yeah. I get that too a little bit with my mom, because she like, it's really great because she likes to have things in common with me, and she likes that for us to like read the same things and but like we never end up talking. We'll have like one conversation about a book we both read, which seems like it seems like there's a lot more material in a one book than just one conversation, but that's usually what ends up happening. It'll be like, oh, I read this book that you've also read. What did you think? It was great. Cool. But I do get that a little bit too, where she'll be like, oh, you got to do this one, and here's another historical fiction about World War II. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, no, my dad is a poli-sci guy. He is like he's a doctorate in post-Soviet political science, I think.
Oh,
And
wow.
so all of his, yeah, well, I think it has to be, he got it like 4 years after the Soviet Union fell. So I think he was trying to be a present Soviet political science guy.
Yeah.
He did all this stuff about the Soviet Union, and then it collapsed, and you're like, oh well.
I guess I'm a historian now.
I guess I'm a historian. Yeah.
So all of his suggestions are like, he suggested me like Hannah Ardent's book on like fascism, or like he gave me a copy of Lenin's Imperialism one time. Imperialism of the West.
He just wants you to be informed.
Yeah, it's like you have a conversation with him and you talk about politics, and eventually he goes like, well, you know, what the Soviets used to do is blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, that's really interesting. This is a really interesting topic with like an actual expert.
Yeah.
You had that conversation, and at the end goes, oh, and I have a book for you. And it's like that thick, you know, and you're like, I think
we're having this conversation because I don't want to read that book.
Yeah, exactly. This is...
Yeah. You're ever like, Dad, I'm not going to read this. Like, Dad, there's no way I'm going to read this.
I'm finally, I mean, but like for a while I was like, you know, this is a great resource to have, and maybe I will read it. So I have like,
you have.
I wonder if I have.
Yeah, but then you.
I think I just have.
We got one.
I think that this is the only one I have from him.
Oh my.
Yeah, which was really good. It feels very
well, just the cover of that book makes it.
It's a great cover. It's actually one of the best. It's one of the best covers I've ever seen. It's where I don't know if have you heard the saying, first as tragedy, then as farce, or some variation on that.
Oh yeah, well, tragedy plus time equals comedy type thing.
Yeah, it's about this repetition of history, and how political parties, or like how people within politics kind of
repeat the same patterns.
Yeah, it was really it felt very prescient in the recent era.
Very relevant.
Well, I mean, in 20 years, when people look back at this particular political climate, like they're going to be like, what the hell? These people are in. I mean, we're saying that now, but it's going to be even more of a comedy, I think.
Yeah.
You know, for the future generations.
We're doing this for the future.
Yeah, we're doing this so comedy in 2045 is hilarious.
It's going to be worth it. So Gus, so you were home for the holidays, yes?
Yeah.
So speaking of holidays, we are still in the 12 days of Christmas.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we were talking about that before the show.
Yeah. Yes. This is my favorite thing.
Transition.
I did ask you guys to tell me this. This is, I think, so it's either the 5th or 6th day of Christmas right now, depending on how you count it, because there's weirdly 2 ways of counting it.
Oh, okay.
Um,
You mean there are disagreements on how to celebrate Christmas?
yeah, but I think
Shocking.
that, so my whole thing, my whole like deal, because like when people hear that song 12 Days of Christmas, I think they often confuse it with Advent, which is the countdown to Christmas.
Right.
And
yeah.
the brilliant, because last time I was on here, I was going on about this. My favorite thing about knowing about holidays and like folk stuff is that it's just people like being like fratty bros,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
In where when they switched calendars in, I looked it up, I think it's 1582, from the Gregorian to Julian calendar.
Yeah.
Or just for the Julian to Gregorian calendar, all the holidays moved. Because it's basically the same. The calendars are almost the same. The leap years work a little differently, and that's the main difference. So all the dates are the same, but they had to reset it so you didn't, this calendars kind of creep if you don't reset them properly.
Yeah.
So what was Christmas, the day that people were celebrating Christmas, became January 6th, which is in well, yeah. And in the Church of England, I think called the Feast of Epiphany, but it's 12th night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's what 12th night is. And the controversy for that is, do you start counting with Christmas being the first day in Christmas, and does that make the night before the Feast of Epiphany 12th night, or do you start counting the day after Christmas, and that makes the whole day 12th night? But what's amazing about it is it basically means that what happened was someone was like, hey guys, FYI, your favorite holidays move in. Just get ready. It's the same date on the calendar, but it's a different day of the year. And everyone was like, great. So that means we have an old Christmas and a new Christmas.
We're gonna do both.
We're doing two. We got 2 Christmases.
I have a hard enough time with the time change, let alone like if I was alive at this time, I would not have done well. Like changing, it feels like changing the calendar is a whole nother like thing. It's like, what, you're changing the calendar, but this is it's the calendar. If somebody came out now and was like, guys, we're gonna do a new calendar. This is now Blemuary.
That feels insane.
It's like
month.
This isn't one where they added any months, right? They were just like, hey, this is a really technical thing, and what it's going to do is ship everything 2 weeks, which is like crazier to me.
That's like almost worse. That's almost
worse
than adding a month.
Go F yourself. There's no way I'm going to do this.
Because when they established the Julian calendar, that's when they're like, we're adding 4 months, everyone. Get ready, or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And the cojones on the guy that did that. He's like, you know what? I think we're gonna add.
Are you saying that Julius Caesar was pretty ballsy? Because I think history agrees with you. I think that I was thinking about, because Julius Caesar was. I was reading about how Julius Caesar was they had like a special like pseudo political position where you were in charge of the calendar, because basically at the end of every year the guy in the charge of the calendar would have to look at how they fucked up that year, and was like, oh no, we have to add 20 days, we missed 20 days this year, and like then we're like we have everyone, there's an extra month, and then the next year we have to do it again. I know that Julius Caesar was in that position for like 15 years or something before he became dictator, before he invaded across he invaded Rome and stuff and that stuff.
He should have taken March out, am I right?
Yeah.
Get out of here, March.
I think he got so fed up of trying to reform the calendar from inside that system that I think his invasion of Rome was just calendar based. And it's like it's like if you are so sick of using Outlook at your company that you become CEO.
Yeah, just so you don't have to use Outlook. Everybody's switching to Gmail.
I'm doing a hostile takeover to get rid of Office 365.
We're now using the G Suite because I'm the CEO.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So the 12 days of Christmas are the difference between old Christmas and new Christmas, or little Christmas and big Christmas, which is like also very fun.
Yeah.
And what it was for a long time traditionally was just people were just like, hey, this is Christmas is 12 days. We're not doing anything. You can't make us. It's a holiday.
It's Christmas.
It's the middle of winter.
How dare you?
Jesus
It's like when you take your birthday and you're like, it's your birthday for
birthday
a
month.
week. Or it's your birthday
Exactly.
month, right?
Yeah.
But then you do that on a mass level where everyone in the country just doesn't work.
I mean, I've been
Which is
trying
like-
for a while
I
to
think
get that to happen. It just doesn't.
People kind of, I mean, yeah, I've been at places where that basically happens, where kind of everyone takes off the week between Christmas and New Year or whatever, but it's 2 weeks. It's 12 or it's almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. So every single one of those days has some weird tradition on it. It's like really, really, that's like between this stuff on like Boxing Day, that's when people like do, there's a lot of like plays and like sword dances happen on Boxing Day.
Oh, sword dances. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love sword
classic.
dances.
Obviously.
People dance with swords. And New Year's is obviously like a big thing. Where New Year, like in Scotland, New Year's is a day where people like just do a ton of weird stuff with like fire.
I love Hogmanay, right?
It's Hogmanay, yeah.
I got to spend Hogmanay 2005. 2005 into 2006, I got to spend Hogmanay up in Inverness.
Incredible.
And I got to do
Wow.
Cayley. I did Cayley dancing.
Yeah.
I did it was so cool. We went to this bar that was 3 stories, and the first story had Cayley dancing. The second story had like an 80s cover band, like rocking out, and then the third story was like couches and like chill music playing low, and you could go up there and just chill out. And then the first floor was all Cayley dancing, and it was bonkers. It was so much fun.
It seems like they like Scotland, like Hogmanay is the New Year celebration.
Yeah, it's the New Year celebration. It really is. Like if you want to do New Year's right, you go to Scotland.
It's more people. It's crazy. Like I was looking up some of what happens, and I mean, it's a lot of insane parties, and then a lot of fire. I think that somewhere in Scotland, I think is where they cover barrels in tar and light them on fire and put on people's backs and they run through the street. I think that's a Hogmanay thing somewhere.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold on. They light barrels on fire.
Yeah.
And then people carry them.
They get a bunch of cloth, like damp cloth, and they put them on their back. And they put the barrel on top of them, and they run down the street until it falls off, essentially.
So the damp cloth is supposed to protect their backs from a burning barrel.
Supposed to, yeah.
Okay.
In theory, it's damp. Cloth is never caught on fire.
No, of course not. Especially not damp cloth.
Yeah.
If you put a little bit of water on it, it's basically fireproof.
I mean, the trick to like I was saying earlier, the trick to understanding Scotland is that it is a culture of pushers, booze wise. You know,
it's a culture of what?
Of pushers.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to not have. I found it difficult to not have Scottish people buy me drinks. And that's not like I'm attracted to Scottish people. It's just like being in the same place as them. You turn around and there's another one.
Yeah. I mean, it's already there. What are you going to do? Not drink it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing of like, I bet you wouldn't run down the street with this barrel on your back.
Exactly. I bet it's even like Jewel would be cool if someone did this. And like, who's going to do it? And someone raises their hand.
Yeah.
Someone's like, my clothes are already pretty wet. I had a night.
It's funny because one of the I mean, you know, when I was up in in Inverness, the whole reason we were there, it was like this big camp reunion. So it was like there were people from all over the world that we all worked at this same camp together.
Was the
We
camp
all
in
kind
Inverness?
Huh?
Was the camp in Inverness?
No, the camp was in New York State. But there were a lot of internationals worked at this camp.
Gus, I agree with you. I did go. I went to a couple camps. I never experienced this camp bond. I know a lot of people who are just like really tight with their camp groups.
But I also think the people I know who have it like this are people who worked at a camp. And
we worked at a camp. We all worked together, and it's like it was more of a shared trauma. I think is really kind of what bonded us. I'm not gonna say the name of this camp, but because it's gotten some pretty bad press as of late.
As of late.
Like a lot of like stuff came out about like the ownership of the camp and like the kind of some not so good stuff.
It wasn't Camp David.
It was Camp David.
Oh my God.
But we would so there would always be like one or two guys that were from like middle of England that were like the crazy ones, and they would do whatever, including like, you know, they would take off their clothes and run down the streets and get arrested, and that was like their thing. They loved that so much.
That was a Wednesday night.
So those would be the people that would be like, hey, take this burning barrel and run it up the street.
Inverness is like it's a hard place to get to. I'm really shocked that you like. I mean, especially from upstate New York, but from like Scotland, it's hard to get to.
Yeah, I mean, I was living in Liverpool at the time when when we did the Inverness thing, and I took a bus from Liverpool to Inverness, and it was because there's only one road really that goes up there. There's one like main like highway that goes up there. So on the way back, on the bus on the way back, like everybody was leaving Inverness at the same time, and like the highway was just backed up the whole way. It was just red taillights as far as you could see for hours. It was crazy.
I took a train there from London one time. I think it took 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours, something like that. Like
it was nuts.
It's easier to get from Boston to Seattle than it is from London to Inverness.
Just because of the traffic patterns.
Yeah.
Gus, we've now talked for a good long time. And, and I'm like, you know, Gus is a musician. We should probably have Gus play a tune. So first of all, for the people that might not have seen you on the first time you were here, talk to us a little bit about the music that you play.
Yeah, so I play. I play what I always struggle to really like put into words, but essentially folk dance music. I play music from mostly from England, around their folk dance traditions, but also France and Sweden, a good amount of those. They're sort of like more connected than it might immediately seem. Play in the Boston area, and yeah, I think is that okay description?
That works
for me.
It's sort of a thing. I play this instrument is called an accord, sometimes called an accordion, often called a melodeon. I'll play you. I wasn't sure what to play, but I'll play because I went back and watched my last appearance to make sure I'm not repeating tunes, and I played my two favorite tunes last time, so I have to go a little further down. Not
your
really.
Second favorite tune.
Yeah. Those are the two tunes that I can pull out at any party. And so I have to go. No, I'm going to play you a tune from England. It's a tune from the Morris dance tradition. The Morris dancing is a kind of like performance dance that is done all over the world. Has especially on like days like Boxing Day. Anything I know about like holidays is through my love of Morris dancing. This tune is called "The Orange in Bloom."
Oh, so good. Like I just love the sound of that. Like it's just such a cool instrument, and it looks like it's so it just blows my mind how people can make music out of it. Like there's so many different things you have to do with that instrument. Like I played trombone in high school, so it's like this was about the extent of my
I can't imagine playing trombone. The slide and then the like any kind of like brass lip situation. I can't. It doesn't make musical sense to me at all.
Well, trombone is the easiest of them because the mouthpiece is the like almost like a proper size. Like it's not tiny like the trumpet where you've got this little tiny mouthpiece that you've got to get your lips in, and it's not huge like the tuba. It's just like a normal.
It's just right.
I tried to learn the trumpet and it took me literally 3 weeks to play one scale. Like it's so complicated.
Yeah.
To me. And then this, which also like is also weird and like also like when you push the bellows in, it's one set of one layout, and you pull it, it's another layout, a whole other like.
Oh really?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, I mean the trumpet only has 3 buttons, and that has what? 57 buttons? Like how many buttons does that
42, I think actually. I think it's 30.
Close.
Yeah, I think you're pretty close. It's 30 on the right hand and 12 on the left hand, I think.
Now,
am I right about that? I don't know.
You said what the name of that instrument was? Is it a concertina?
Isn't it?
It's a button accordion is the sort of non-controversial name for it. In England, it's always called a melodeon,
Melodic.
basically. But a melodeon means either an unrelated instrument or a very specific subset of them in other places. So I always call it a button accordion.
So
Lots of
what's the
controversy.
difference between like a concertina, an accordion, and a melodeon?
Uh,
If you know, if
the,
you don't know, feel free to say that's a
no,
stupid question.
no, it's not. It's a good question. It's just a kind of a boring answer. A concertina is basically one where the buttons go the same direction as the bellows. Is kind of the answer that people normally give.
Okay.
The concertina is the one of the earliest versions of this instrument. Um, I think it's celebrating its 150th anniversary this year, maybe.
Wow.
Um, and the they all use a thing called a free reed, which is like a little metal tongue in a like a some kind of holding, and it vibrates like a reed would. So it's similar to like actually similar to how like an organ works. But the thing that everyone knows that has those is a harmonica. Um,
Okay.
so
That I mean, it does kind of have kind of a little bit of a
a
harmonica
little bit,
kind of sound to it.
yeah. With it's a little fuller, but it's a bigger instrument. So an accordion, the real difference between a concertina and an accordion, it basically is the way that those reeds are set and made in the instrument, which is like super technical and not really super interesting, and also kind of not fully not a good answer. So an accordion, the buttons are like up against you, like that. So there's two kinds of button accordions. There's a piano accordion. That's a button accordion. A melodeon, in the broader sense of the word, is one which is what people would call like a diatonic accordion. So each column or row of keys is one scale, like on a harmonica. So you go like in one note, out the other note, in one note, out one the other one. It's that same layout.
Wow.
And then you have different combinations of those keys. And mine has a third row that's all the extra notes that go into that. And you put that together and you have an instrument.
Yeah.
But like
A simple instrument. A simple.
well, I don't know if you know what a bandoneon is. It's what they play in like tango music.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in for that one, that's like a related instrument. And that's so complicated that major players of the bandoneon only know one direction of the instrument. They only know the pull side.
Oh wow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that I look at that layout and it's great, and I'm like, this is. I mean, I've been playing this for like since I was like 15, so like a while, and so it makes sense to me. I like learn music on it essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So every time someone, I can't play, like I like hand it to someone and they can't figure it out. I'm like, how do you not know? This is music. It's like I don't really play piano very well, and when I'm not able to play piano, and other people when I was like at music school saw that, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, it doesn't go. It's one way. There's no.
Oh.
That's so yeah. I guess it's just a question of like what you're used to, like, because for me, I feel like because like I play clarinet and like there's only one set of buttons per note, as it were. So like as long as you know the fingering, like, but it's also like you do have to have you do have to do some work in terms of like breath control and embouchure, but it's like but for me, I'm like, there's only one way to play this note.
And well, the register really messes me up on the clarinet.
Yeah.
It's the reed. Like, I don't understand reed instruments. Like, especially when you have to like I've tried playing reed instruments before and I cannot get sound to come out of them.
Yeah.
And if I do, it's honking. Like that's all it is.
That's the first step. That's a sound.
Yeah.
That is a sound. You're right.
First step is making a sound. I had to, my niece was so my niece is in the stage of her development where she's starting to be like a little bit self-aware of like what other people are doing compared to what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I've learned this because I was like I was worried about it, so I was asking people about it, because she's very much like, if we're doing something, she has to be the best at it, right? And she has to like win. And we were like ice skating, and she was mad at me because I was ice skating better than her. And I was like, honey, you're 6. I've been doing this a lot longer than you. I also specifically work out all the time, so I'm strong enough to do things like this. You are just figuring out coordination in general.
Get to the gym.
Yeah.
You're 6.
Yeah, go to the gym.
You're 6. Come on, pick up some weight.
Yeah.
Get to it. Like,
Let's do it. You want to get good? Let's do this.
Yeah,
go
lift.
for it.
What, you don't lift? You're 6.
You're
Not
6.
5.
Come on.
Yeah, what are you?
Get
a
started
5-year-old?
now.
No, you're 6.
Yeah.
You're gonna get
not,
you'll
baby.
get there. Like, and it just oh my god, it was so much fun hanging out with her. She's funnier than I am, honestly.
That's the age I'm looking forward to for my daughter. Like that age where she's like just discovering everything and can communicate with me, about like what she's into and things like that. Like, it's like I don't want to fast forward. Like, it's going to be an experience.
It's all going to be fun
the whole way. But like, I can't wait until she's like a little person that can communicate, in words I can understand.
Yeah. I taught theater to some kids for like 4 years, I think. And seeing them, so some of them I saw when they were probably 5 and to 9.
Yeah.
I followed some of them with this program. It's absolutely like, there is a moment where they just like are a person where you're like, oh, do you know about, have you read Kierkegaard? Are you like,
Have you done any Beckett?
Yeah.
You're an adult
Here.
now.
Yeah.
Here's Buried Child. Read this play. You'll love it.
This is gonna be great.
This is Waiting for Godot Jr.
Yeah. It's the middle school version of it.
The middle school version of Waiting for Godot.
Yeah.
It's 20 minutes long, and Godot shows up at minute 15. They wrote in Godot.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is exactly what I'm going to say to my kid. This is how I'm going to, you got to pay for it in sweat.
Yeah. I think I think I brought that up because it's like, it's very much like, that's how we feel about different instruments, of like, this doesn't make any, like, we're just trying to figure out this new world of this new instrument, and it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Why am I not good at this? I can do other instruments, but it's like, you're just starting. You just started.
Yeah. If they were languages, we would be more forgiving. Probably they're not like, it's also trying to like wrap your head around something in a kind of similar way, but we don't.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just physical stuff. Like here, it's just, I can do it on another thing, and I can hear people.
Yeah.
I've heard people play this well. Why can't I just do this well?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so like, I've been thinking about this a lot, of like, that feeling of like when you are learning something new, or you're learning a new language, and it's kind of like, you're figuring out, and anything that you're learning, it's like you have to learn a whole new vocabulary for it, and like it's really frustrating at the beginning, and it's just like, for kids, that's everything all the time, and people are asking you all the time of like, okay, this is a simple conversation, but I'm gonna make you do a math problem now. Like, that's got to be exhausting. It's got to be tiring to be a kid.
Yeah, I can't believe that kids learn all the time.
That's
It's
all they're
like,
doing.
yeah, if I learn for more than a couple hours, I'm
Yeah.
exhausted.
No,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
like, I'll go. I have to sit down. I like sit down and like, right now I'm gonna learn some things. I'm gonna read a book or whatever,
Yeah.
and kids are just it's all they do.
Yeah. Yep.
Constantly. We got a question. Have you ever played around with MIDI keyboards, Gus?
Um, I played around with analog synths a little bit. That's fun. That's similar. I mean, I played with MIDI keyboards are mostly just keyboards, and then you have to understand the MIDI side of
Right.
it, which is like I can do a little bit, but yeah, I try. I got really into you know analog synths and new wave music for a long time. Still have a
Evidently, you can take it and switch it from going low to high, from left to right, and you can reverse it.
Oh,
So
no.
where the high
Oh,
notes
yeah.
are on the bass end, and the low notes are on the high end.
The-
Yeah, that would mess with me a lot.
there's a lot of people. Every once in a while I see someone go like, I invented a new instrument and it's just a new layout for MIDI. It's just like a different like there was one going around for a while that was a sphere that you played kind of like
Okay.
that, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And I looked up, I was like, it's just a MIDI
It's
interface.
just a round MIDI.
It's just a round.
It's a little. I mean, it's still like a lot of work, but it's like, is that really a new instrument? Because if you can like,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Are there any instruments that you like at this point in your music career that you're like, I really want to like master this instrument, but I have no idea how to play it yet? Like, do you have any like dream instruments that you want to master?
I've always wanted to play like a version, some kind of bagpipe, and
that would be cool to learn how to play the bagpipes,
especially the uilleann pipes, the Irish ones, or the Northumbrian small pipes are like two of those. And every like couple of months, I'll look at prices for them.
You're like, I mean, honestly, that's the first step is being like, okay, do I want to, like, is this an investment that I'm going to make? Like, because if I'm assuming that those aren't cheap at all.
There's some that are surprisingly, there's some that are in the $400-$500 range, which for an instrument is like pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's still like handmade in wherever. Like, oh God.
Yeah, like that's a commitment. Like if you're gonna buy that, like you need you like it's either gonna sit there and you're gonna be like, oh man, I bought this. I really should learn how to play it.
Yeah, and there's a social cost to it as well because you have to learn how to play it. And I live with people. So.
Oh yeah, you would probably not be the most popular roommate if you're learning how to play the bagpipes.
No. I'm not. I won't play it, but I'll show you the weirdest instrument I'm working on at the moment, which is over here.
I won't buy the bagpipes and then get an Airbnb in the middle of nowhere for like a month.
Or I miss my chance. There's a bagpipe course at the University of Edinburgh. I showed them.
Oh, you know what? I've seen. This is how geeky I am. I've seen this instrument on a video game on Sea of Thieves.
That makes sense.
It's a Sea of Thieves. Like it's one of the instruments that they have that your avatar can play in Sea of Thieves.
And Brian David Gilbert did a video about it, a comedy video about it a couple months ago. It's a hurdy-gurdy. I've had this for a while.
Hurdy-gurdy.
It is. I say I'm learning on. I got paid. I was a professional hurdy-gurdy player for 6 months. I played it in a show, and I was a lot better than, but I've never been particularly good. So I've been playing. That's my latest project. Is I'm playing that. I'm like running scales and doing exercises on that every day and trying to get like a little bit more confident.
So how does that instrument work? You turn the crank.
Yeah. So
you put it away.
I'm not going to play it because it's a little. I think it's a little early to play something I'm particularly bad at. And also this is public. It's got a crank that makes this wheel move,
Okay.
and then you have these two strings which have keys attached to them.
Okay.
And this layout is a keyboard.
Okay.
It's a keyboard layout, except for you're playing it like upside down.
Oh no.
And in like a very unergonomic position. Like there's definitely a tendonitis issue with this instrument.
Oh yeah.
The cool thing or the crazy thing about it is that you have this string, which if you can see has like a little weird bridge.
Yeah.
And it has another string. I don't know if you can see that one. There's a string here. It's called the trumpet or chien. It looks like a dog. So this is like played a lot in French music. And the French is so it looks like a dog. So it's called chien. And this is a loose bridge that's fitted in a little slot. And as you spin the wheel at different speeds, the bridge comes out and buzzes. So otherwise there's not a whole lot of like dynamics to it, because like on a violin you have both speed and pressure to like do dynamics, and this you don't have the pressure. You kind of have the speed. It has this rhythmic thing going on. So within especially like French dance music, which is why I have this. It's like a real like big part of like French dance music is this sort of buzzing thing, and you have to learn all these different like patterns for it or whatever. It sounds alien. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's really cool. Like it's a cool looking instrument. Like it's one of those instruments where it's just like when you look at it, you're like, it doesn't make sense how this makes music.
No, exactly. But I mean, this one has a carbon fiber top for some reason. I don't know what's up with that. I bought this off of like eBay ages ago, and I was talking to another folky guy, and I was like, I just bought a hurdy-gurdy. It's kind of interesting. He was like, oh, I sold my hurdy-gurdy to a guy in Texas like 2 years ago. I bought it from a guy in Texas. How many hurdy-gurdies are there in Texas? And then he went, wow, I think you have a hurdy-gurdy. You should know, I bought that hurdy-gurdy from Sting.
You bought it from Sting?
My friend who sold it to the guy I bought it from had bought it from Sting.
So that's Sting's hurdy-gurdy? Well, it's your hurdy-gurdy, but it used to be Sting's?
Yeah, I mean it's not in great shape. I feel like it's an indictment to call it Sting's hurdy-gurdy.
Sting, take better care of your hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah, come on. Gordon, I think his name is Gordon.
Gordon, his name is, and the only reason I know that his name is Gordon is because there was a Dana Carvey stand-up special from the late '90s where he talked about Sting's name being Gordon and how badass it is to change your name to a verb, present tense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that he claims that he got it from someone else. He definitely gave himself that nickname.
Yeah, probably.
Because his story is that he would wear a white and black striped sweater, I think, and people he'd be called Bumble. In Newcastle and the hard jazz clubs of Newcastle, there's no way you're getting a cool nickname for wearing a dumb sweater.
They're like, oh look, here comes Bumble.
Right?
Bumblebee.
Yeah. Or whatever.
The guys call me Sting.
Yeah, exactly.
Good Sting now.
Did you see him in I don't know if you watched Only Murders in the Building?
Oh, I did. He had his tiny guitar.
Yeah,
I think his tiny acoustic guitar is really funny. That's his actual one. I've seen it.
So great.
That tiny guitar he plays is the guitar he actually plays. I think it's
really
funny. Yeah. I was obsessed with his. I had a fascination. Not really. I was a fascination with his Broadway musical that bombed super hard.
What was the musical he did?
The Big Ship. It doesn't make any sense for me on Broadway, so I was obsessed with it. It was about the last days of the Newcastle shipping industry, or like shipbuilding industry.
Oh, interesting.
And there's a bunch of like folk people who are involved in it, which is why I like
Yeah.
heard about it. But I'm like, but why if you did it out of the West End and like the London West End, it would kill. Like that is like a West End
Yeah.
musical.
Mhm.
And he did it only in Broadway.
Oh,
That-
The
Where-
Last Ship.
The Last Ship.
The Last Ship.
And he has there's it's on YouTube, but he did a concert performance of it where he like walked everyone through each little song they wrote or whatever.
Mhm.
And the entire time he's like 1 foot up on a box because it's like kind of on the set. It's like 1 foot up on like a dirty shipbuilding box, and he's wearing like a white tight white shirt, and he's talking a lot about like growing up in Wallsend or wherever, and he takes up this tiny little like Renaissance guitar. He's got like one leg up, and he's singing about like bar fights or whatever.
Like, okay, Sting.
Okay. I mean, it's the thing. If you like Sting, that's the thing you love about Sting is the apparent lack of the apparent unself-awareness. You know.
I mean, like, it's so like he's got to have some though, because otherwise, I don't think he could play. Like, you know.
I think he just doesn't care.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think that's the key.
Yeah. I find it endearing.
Yeah.
Fields of Gold,
Because-
great song.
Yeah, because he wouldn't like. I don't think he would be able to play himself in Only Murders in the Building. With a sense
Oh no,
of
he's
humor
great.
about
I
it.
thought
Yeah.
I haven't finished that show, but the one episode I saw him in, I thought it was really good. When they
It's
went
really
into,
good.
I guess he's in 2 episodes, but the one where they went into his apartment was really nice.
Yeah.
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 It's a great
He's really
it's a
funny.
great show. It's a really
Yeah.
like my wife and I finished it and we're like, ooh. And they've started working on the second season, which is
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Selena Gomez is on Selena I follow Selena Gomez, Martin Short, and Steve Martin all on TikTok. Like all three of them are on TikTok.
Wait,
and
Martin
it's so
Short's on
funny.
TikTok?
Like, huh?
Martin Short's on TikTok.
Martin Short's TikTok is awesome because it's basically him. Like he posts a lot of his old
sounds
like
fantastic.
bits and
Yeah.
stuff, like a lot of his old like sketches and stuff. And he's so funny.
He's the best.
But
He's
every
so
once in a
funny.
while, like there's been a couple where like Selena Gomez will be filming both Steve Martin and Martin Short and like going back and forth, and they're like talking about art or something, and she just like then looks at the camera and just like rolls her eyes because she's like these two grandpas are but they've got like the relationship between the three of them is so fun and endearing. It's such a
works.
cool kind of like
It really
generational friendship.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool.
It's a great show.
He was in the 80s Dune. Sting.
Sting.
We're back
Yeah,
on
he's
Sting.
in 84.
And
He
posed
played-
naked in Playgirl.
works.
Yeah,
But
and he's
who hasn't?
basically naked in Dune.
Oh yeah,
Have you not seen the
Excellent.
1984 Dune?
I have.
It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would actually say to go back. I know that we're near the end, but to go back, you should see the Tom Cruise Mummy.
Oh, are we
Is Sting
okay? We've
also
come
in
full
that?
circle.
Yeah, he's not it, but it is a crazy movie because it's the only Dark Universe movie, and they try to build up so much stuff. Russell Crowe is insane in it.
What do you mean Dark Universe movie?
That's their like Universal monster movie universe. It was called
Yeah,
the Dark
that's what they were
Universe,
trying to
and
do.
they have a title card for it. It's the only movie that will ever have that title card, which alone is hilarious.
because they're not doing the rest of them, are they? Are they?
No, everyone watch that movie and like, why would we want this? This is
Yeah,
stupid.
okay.
This is terrible.
I mean, like the Mummy universe is already. Why not
Why
just
did they
stick
start
with
the Mummy?
something that works?
It's perplexing. It's where I think that movie's worth it to see
Just
Russell
for
Crowe's
how odd.
insane choices.
I would
Does
like
Russell
to see
Crowe
Russell Crowe being
play the
insane.
Mummy?
No, he plays Dr. Jekyll.
Oh, is Dr. Jekyll in? Okay, I get
Okay.
it.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because they were gonna do. It was gonna be. Was it gonna be the Mummy, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and like
It was gonna be everything. It was
yeah.
like Javier Bardem maybe was gonna be like the Wolfman or something like that. It was like they had that photo with everyone in it. That was like clearly like people photoshopped in suits together.
Wow.
It was
That's
there were like
great.
10 people.
Well, that was like that King Arthur movie with Charlie Hunnam that nobody liked is because
Oh, it was
Yeah,
Johnny
I
Depp,
like that
Javier
movie.
Bardem,
I liked it
Russell
too.
Crowe,
It's
Tom
good.
Cruise, and yeah, hold on one second.
Because that was
The King
supposed to
Arthur movie
be.
where the big take was that he was a boxer from the streets. It was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but King Arthur.
yeah. Well, because they were trying to
One
create
second.
a like roundtable universe, and I guess the producers. I really think the producers messed that one up because they're
This
there they
photo,
are.
this
So
photo's crazy.
yeah, so who was Johnny Depp supposed? Was he supposed to be Dr. Frankenstein?
I don't know. Maybe he could have been. I mean, he could have been the creature from the Black Lagoon, which is a Universal movie monster.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think he was like Dracula or something.
Oh, that would make
That would
sense.
make sense, right? That makes the most sense for Johnny Depp to
Yeah.
me.
It's
That's
big
what I mean.
Johnny Depp energy to be a
That's
vampire.
that's the kind of thing he likes to do.
Yeah.
I mean, no, he was. Sorry, I'm just saying this. Johnny Depp was going to be the Invisible Man.
Amazing. Actually,
Amazing.
Imagine
Javier Bardem was going to be Frankenstein's monster.
Oh okay.
Sophia
good.
Boutella was the mummy.
yeah. And then
Uh,
spoilers for the Mummy. Tom Cruise was also the Mummy.
what? Okay, I'm going to watch it.
It's a crazy movie. It's a crazy movie.
All right. Maybe if I ever, I don't know, if I ever get the flu and I'm stuck at home,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
you know,
that seems unlikely.
the mummies.
The mummies. Multiple mummies.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, Gus,
much
thank you so much for being on the show and chatting with us today. Just like that, the show's over. We've hit our time, and I know you have.
I made it.
We told you we wouldn't keep you past 2, so we don't want to go too much further, too much longer. Real quick though, before we go, are you doing anything tonight for New Year's or?
I am. It's my birthday, so I'm going to a friend's house.
That's right. Happy birthday.
I forgot.
So you're celebrating me. Everyone in
Yes.
the world celebrating.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a great feeling. That's the same for me. My birthday is on Veterans Day, so I'll
Oh,
have
yeah.
a rockin' party.
You just feel that's a solemn honor. I would
Yeah,
say.
it's
Or
respect.
mine's more of a fire-based pagan celebration.
I'm really hoping that my daughter is born on Groundhog Day. Like,
that'd be great.
she's due the first part of February. She's arriving sometime in February, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I want to shoot for Groundhog Day. I would love for her to have her birthday on Groundhog Day.
Yeah, or President's Day, right?
Or I want to
No,
avoid
no.
President's Day. I
Right,
don't
that
wanna-
makes sense.
I'm like
I don't
that's
like
You
presidents anymore.
that's too much pressure.
yeah, far too much pressure.
Yeah.
Far too much pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going up to New Hampshire tonight, which I'm not crazy about, but it's okay. I'm going to be triple masked while I do a murder mystery. So good times.
You're gonna murder someone?
I'm going to murder somebody and then solve
I
my
don't
own.
know if masks matter then.
That's what
Well,
the
it does
mask's
if you
for,
wanna
so they
keep-
can't
Oh,
see my
right.
whole
Oh,
face.
yeah.
Blood out of your mouth.
It's an N95 and then a balaclava.
Yeah.
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 Mhm. Yeah.
100%.
It's going to be crazy. So look for that in the news. Gus, thank you so much. Please check out all of Gus's stuff on his Instagram, on his Facebook. There, check out his music. Look out. You said you have maybe some shows coming up?
Yeah, I do. The group I'm doing shows with is called Voorhees Vitali, which is spelled on Facebook and Instagram. Voorhees VOORHEES X VITALE. It's me and a fiddler, and we are supposed to be performing at the Aeronaut Brewery in Somerville, Massachusetts on January 9th. But we'll see. I'm hesitant to really announce any
That's
show.
a for sure thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Well, hopefully you'll be out and about performing live soon, and hopefully that show goes off. But thank you so much, Gus, for spending this last day of 2021 with us.
we made
Yeah,
it.
thank you so much. This is wonderful.
All right. Well, take care. Have a great rest of your day.
Goodbye, world.
Oh, we're not leaving yet.
We're
I'm
not
just saying
leaving
goodbye
yet.
to Gus. We're going to say
Oh.
goodbye now.
Okay.
Chloe, thank you so much for doing this with me for the last, this is now 2 years.
2 years now.
We've done through 2020. We've gone through 2021. Looking forward to seeing what 2022 brings.
You know, I've decided that. So, you know, everybody keeps doing this thing of like we're not gonna say the next year is gonna be our year, right? So I think it's a better idea to just choose a theme for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this next year is gonna be a bird year.
A bird year?
Yeah, it's gonna be all about birds.
Into it.
Yeah.
Into it. Well, I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. Happy New Year, Kit Tempest. Happy New Year to everybody watching the show both live and on the repeat. If you check us out on YouTube. If you like what we do here at 2MB, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the follow button. We have a lot of cool programming on here. We've got a lot of fun people that do a lot of fun stuff. So who knows what 2022 is going to hold for Hello Weekend? I don't know. I'm going to probably have to take some time off because, well, baby.
There's a baby on the way.
So if you're interested in applying to be a co-host, a special guest host with Chloe, slide into our DMs and let us know. Until then, thanks everybody for watching and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Goodbye, world.
Bye.